So you think Claude or ChatGPT can just write a winning proposal for you? Or better yet, you think just by feeding it the right prompts that you will get a yes from funders. You're probably wrong. In fact, you're dead wrong. And this one mistake is costing AI consultants months that they'll never get back, not to mention the 5 and 6 figure contracts that they're missing out on. My name is R.W. Jones, the Brillionaire. And over the past decade, I've secured over $5 million in workforce contracts. So I know what is funded and what is thrown in the trash. See, AI can give you this really fancy structured document, but it can't give you the insider insight, the institutional knowledge of why and how funders thrive. In this video, I'm taking you behind the scenes of a raw, unfiltered teardown of a real proposal of one of my operators inside AI Contract Skool. I'm going to show you the exact flaws that AI creates and the real human insight that actually gets you paid. Let's break it down.
I put in my program evaluation hat on, my grant evaluation hat, as if I am in, I received this proposal for funding, and I'm going to act like I am the entity that she's writing to. Okay. And so, right off the top, first page, first off this rip, it tells me what it says. This one page will tell Semka what it is being asked to fund, to whom, and what it receives. Now, if I am Semka, do I need this page to talk to me about how I'm going to make a decision, how I am going to fund something? I got it. So now, right, brain power, we take in so much information on a daily basis. Now I'm like, okay, what Simca buys, I am Simca, right? Okay, so you're telling me what Simca buys. You're telling me who Simca serves. You're telling me the format in which, the workshop or whatever this is for, what the participants will earn, a navigation plan, an AI assistant work sample. I wonder if I can make this bigger. An AI assistant work sample. What kind of work sample? A certificate of completion, an accomplice kit. What kind of accomplice kit? See, so right after that, right before we can get to number 2, I got 1,000 questions, right? And the decision summary, that's something that AI does. In fact, this is a Claude move. Too smart, doing too much wrong, okay? And how do we know? We've never done this before. And AI is so smart, it's smarter than us. So therefore, it should know, what we don't know. And not necessarily true. AI doesn't know what to do in this case. It's just making the best hypotheses, the best rational, the best decision. It's pulling in all the tricks and all the stops because it believes that the more information you have, the better it is. In this case, for number 1, we don't need a decision-making summary at all. Not if you're sending this to the point of contact, if you're sending the proposal to the buyer, don't tell the buyer how they buy. That's not how buyers buy. That's like you go to the supermarket and before you pick up your, pack of chicken, somebody has to explain to you why are you there to pick up a pack of chicken. No. So before we go any further, my brain is already fatigued because I am trying to figure out what this is. So we don't even have to go any further, but we're gonna keep going. The opportunity before us, artificial intelligence is reshaping nearly every local job. Employers increasingly seek workers who are adaptive, digital, confident, able to keep learning. Many capable adults. Midlife career changes, dislocated workers, characters return. Okay, AI skills are becoming the new job skills. Millions are not ready. Left unaddressed at the gap widens. Okay. So we know AI is already a problem. We know this already. So you're telling the system something that they already know. So yes, AI is a problem, but what is Semka's problem? So this is where I need y'all to really understand. Where it comes to the decision-making process, who is Semka? Let's follow the money. How is Semka paid? If we follow the money, right, and we identify first and foremost how they are paid, who is dropping the money in their bank account? How are they paying for their staff, their lights, their operations. Who's paying the bill? Because 9 times out of 10, whoever's footing the bill is the one looking for the outcome. They are getting the money for a reason. So if Simca, for example, is a part of Michigan Works, right? Or if it's a workforce board, how are workforce boards funded? Through the what? Through the state, right? So the workforce boards, the local workforce boards are funded through their state. And then their state is funded through the federal government. They all have outcomes. So I cannot speak to a workforce board as though, because their needs are going to be different from the needs of those that they serve. If that was clear, let's back it up. This particular, let's go right here. Who is it serving? Adults navigating career transitions with particular strengths, serving dislocated workers, and women 50 and plus re-entering the workforce. Now, this is who Simca is serving. Who's paying Simca to serve these people? What are Simca's deliverables? How is Simca then going to be labeled as high performer? Who is evaluating Simca? Probably the people who's paying Simca, right? And so if I understand why they're getting paid to produce and I understand what they're getting paid to produce, then I'm going to help Simca produce the outcome that they are paid to produce, right? So while we may have meant that, it's not coming across that way initially, right, as I'm just reading, because it needs to talk in the language that they understand. So if I needed to look up the workforce plan, I would say something like the state of Michigan's workforce plans identify AI as the largest gap. Here's how we're going to solve it for this particular population. Boom. That's it. However, we need that data. We need to know what the deliverables are for Simca. Plus, Simca or other workforce boards, they don't necessarily just buy a workshop, okay? They fund training programs. So unless we are submitting our program through the proper protocols or processes in place so that they can fund, right? As long as the proposal that we are lining up matches with the state's priorities and their priorities. So most boards now is in 3 buckets: construction and trades, healthcare, and IT. AI is considered IT. And so in one of these buckets, those are the top 3 priorities nationwide. However, there's some outliers. But when it comes to this particular proposal, it's not matching up. Meaning the North Star navigation plan, why? What is that? Why is this even relevant? You put it too far up front before you can even explain what it is. So let's just get to the brass tacks. The opportunity before us. Okay, is that the problem we're solving? Let's just say, a problem we're solving. You can keep an opportunity before us. AI is a new job skills, people age 55 and older, with federal displaced workers. Give us real stuff, real stats, real things happening in the market, right? With the AI replacing workforce, this is the time where people have to skill up to let their imaginations soar. This is real. Like, we don't need to make it up. You can't promise people that we're going to get you back into a workforce, because that workforce does not exist, really, not on the level that we've been doing. So this is a major shift. So all of our proposals should just be saying we are going to get people confident in using it. We're going to help upskill them and get them comfortable with the tools so that they can know how to best explore and become proficient and fluent in the tools. Right now is about AI learning, and that's all we're promising. A fun, interactive, they want work-based learning. That's not even real. Work-based learning, though, is that they are actually working on somebody's actual portfolio or business. And that's really easy. But in some cases, everybody's training program is not necessarily work-based learning. But if you want to tie a work-based learning, that just means that they're learning and they're doing it at the same time. You teach me, and then I get to go practice in real time in a setting, right? That should be consistent with the population and the buyer itself. So if I had to keep going, the solution, okay, there's a 2-day accelerator. When I think 2-day workforce accelerator, the way I would just kind of freakish see it, because I don't want to do a 30-minute video on just tearing this thing apart. So the solution is a 2-day high impact experience that puts human beings first, treats AI as a tool. So, here we are, human beings first, human centered. I remember this conversation, but we never put that, we didn't even put that human centered, human beings first in the problem. I don't remember seeing it. Okay, employers increasingly seek workers who are adaptable, digitally confident, able to keep learning, and able to keep learning. Don't really like that. Many capable adults, midlife career changes, dislocated workers, caregivers returning to work, carry deep life and work experience, but have not yet been shown how to navigate the AI-enabled workforce. AI skills are the new job skills. Millions are not ready, left unaddressed. The gap widens the economic distance between those who can use the tool and those who cannot. North Star exists to close that distance to help participants move from sub to clear and leverage AI. So that sounds kind of sort of generic, but then the system, high impact experience, putting the human being first and treats AI as a tool that enhances who they already are. Before we teach a single tool, we help individuals, participants locate their own North Star. So now it looks like you told me a problem, but your solution is not adequately matched. It's not speaking apples and apples. It's speaking apples and maybe, pears, or maybe red apples versus maybe a granny apple. Saying those are they're apples, but they're two different apples. One is like a golden delicious sweet, and one is a little bittersweet sour, right? Apples, but two different tastes. About North Stars, the program deliverables. Each participant receives a before and after skills profile document visual AI system. Now, here's what this feels like two proposals put together as one. A hodgepodge. It feels like, because you already said that up here, what participants earn, what they receive, what Simca receives, attendance records, before and after skills profile per participant, outcome report, 36 day follow-up, a cohort of 25, $4,200 for a cohort is about 170. Okay, so I'm not sure who Simca is. So the deliverables, AI assisted work sample created during the workshop, completed 90-day navigation plan, still don't know what that is, certificate of completion, North Star toolkit, 30-day toolkit. So you're telling me that we're going to receive these deliverables before you even tell me what these things are, like a navigation plan. I don't even know what that is. So I would suggest if you're putting deliverables in the front end, and I would then try to explain what these things are. Because if a navigation plan is the core star of the show, then everything has to be built around why the navigational plan is even important. Meaning, let's just say every person received a 90-day North Star navigation plan. And that is the framework and the center star piece of the program, right? Then I'm building everything around it. I'm showing people I'm showing that there's hundreds of thousands of people in the workforce that's working jobs that they hate. I'm showing how this federal workforce and these displaced workers have people spinning because they've given their identity to a machine or a system, and now they don't know where they are. I'm showing where AI has come to replace, so people will be unable to find themselves. I am going to build the cornerstones that makes the navigational, plan the center star. Everything points to the North Star plan, right? If that's the case, if that's the selling point, if that's the anchor we want the program to sell, what are we selling? If it's an app, let's say the North Star, we build an app called the North Star Assessment, right? And then every time we talk about the problem and then the solution, and then why everything has to point back to the centerpiece of what it is that we are selling, transformation that we are bringing forth. It's the North Star app that brings forth the transformation because it's taking boom, 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 and bringing it here. And this is what they need. So here is the things that AI will never be able to give you, baby. The fact that it gives you great information, it means nothing to the person that has to read it. They have what, 30 seconds, you know what I'm saying, to size it up. Unless they have a personal relationship with you, they'll go through it even quicker. Like, okay, I know it just has to pass the sniff test, has to pass the eye test. While it's neat, it's clean, it's neatly structured, it's not passing the mind test. You're leaving me with more questions. It's not passing. The deliverables doesn't match up necessarily. You haven't painted the picture. Why this? Why is this important? Why do I even care? I don't see that in the problem because everybody knows that's a problem. AI is the problem. But so tell me something else, right? You can't go into these proposals saying AI is replacing the workforce and that's the problem you're solving. Hello. Show me how, this, why you over the next person? Why is this approach going to be different? We already know that is a global problem, right? So how are we addressing a global problem in a very different kind of way, right? Let's see. If I had to really nitpick, they don't need to know really what they're walking away with. They should already be able to see. They should see clearly the outcomes that they're going to receive. So, for example, if I am Simca, I put on my Simca hat, and let's say that my funder, right, they want everybody trained in AI. I need to know this, right? But they want to make sure the state, let's say the state funds me, and I am held by certain aspects from the state. How many people was trained, maybe what kind of skills have they learned? Did they get a badge of any kind? How is this useful to the economy and then to themselves? So I'm going to rewrite this entire proposal. But in the 2-day agenda, let's see, do pathway discovery, prompting, hands-on practice, reflection. AI tools everybody uses, career materials, apply. Now somebody might say, "Oh, being super nitpicky." I mean, it's like a map, and I wish somebody would have ever drawn this out. But A should match B, and C should match D, and E should match, And so we all we all performance measurable skills gain. What are they gaining? A pre and post competency check scored on the same rubric. The gain is the documented difference. No. What is it exactly? 60%, I'm saying, what is the skill that we are measuring the gain in? Is it a reading comprehension skill? Is it an AI literacy skill? So you're going to take a pre and post test specifically of the AI literacy that they have. Do they know how to use it? Do they know what it is? So this is not necessary. Skills profile, a written before and after profile per participant. Would they really need that? Don't they have a profile? Is this important to them? Is this how they measure success? Now, if this is how they measure success, and they told you that, that's different. But I don't think they need that. A North Star certificate of completion, we do not represent this as a recognized post-secondary credential. 30, 60, 90-day reporting on AI use. Why would we do that? How could you do that? How could you do 30, 60, 90-day reporting on AI use? How will you really know that they're using AI 30, 60, 90 days out? Yes, you'll give surveys, but just make sure your price point accounts for that time putting in to those people, and what happens if those people don't get your email, if it's in spam, this is self-report data, right? Is it even necessary? Is follow-up outcomes something that's necessary? Job search activity, no. This sounds like this is just, it's AI. It's AI at its finest. What you need job search activity. This is not the unemployment office. What are we promising exactly? Did we say we were going to help them become more competitive in the workplace, help them find and land that job in 90 days in the AI economy? No. So why do we need that? Why is that? In any employment or self-employment injury? No. Is a career based on occupational training, carries no credentials, so as an we definitely don't write this. It carries no credential because guess what? Workforce boards are all about the credential. In fact, stack the credential. If they're going to be now in 2 days, what are we actually learning? We got to make sure that if they're not earning, why? Because if I'm going to choose 5,000 with you versus 5,000, and at the end of the 2 days, they walking away with an actual credential of some kind. Maybe it's a Microsoft, maybe it's a Claude, maybe it's a certified, Claude specialist. I don't know. But I'm going to choose the one that can give me the stackable credential, the recognized credential, right? And I don't think ChatGPT or Claude or any of those people have it, but even like a go high level certification, something like if you're going to put the certification stuff in here, just make sure that it makes sense. We don't need policy alignment necessarily, but like this, if we didn't shape it up as such, we shouldn't be putting it. It's irrelevant at this point. It makes no difference. Maybe in my one pager, I would put that in there to let them know, but it doesn't belong. And that's it. So 22 minutes down, and I'm hoping that I wasn't so brutal. Ooh, that was a lot. Okay. So if maybe, and feel free to push back. I can promise you can take this transcript, put it in ChatGPT, and they're not going to push back. They're going to say, yeah, she's absolutely right, blah, 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 and give you a whole nother set of rabbit hole Alice in Wonderland, have fun. But that's why it's important to be able to get this kind of feedback, ladies and gentlemen, on your proposal. Who's going to do that? So now this operator probably is she's not even going back to the drawing board because she already gave me something that was already very good. Where we come here, I think sometimes we get nervous when we're at the finish line. We're like, oh my God, this can't be. It can't be. I got to go back. And then you go back and you do something else. So now I'm going to tell this operator, go back, bring me that first proposal, and let's work that first proposal because it was good and clear.
So you just saw exactly why AI generated proposals failed. See, they have the fancy words and the structure, but they miss the funder's playbook by miles. My job is to get you packaged so you can get paid. Listen, as an AI consultant, you're going to sell your skills to either people over the internet, small businesses and large corporations, or the government. I focus on selling to the government without nuancey things like NAICS codes and complicated SAM.gov registrations. So if you're ready to get off the feast or famine content creation sales track and build an offer that a buyer can actually understand and fund, then I want to invite you to my next Get Packaged and Get Paid live VIP day. This is not a webinar. It's actually an assembly line, a live working session. You come in with your raw materials, which is your expertise. And over the day, we're going to assemble those pieces into what I call a beautifully finished fundable proposal. You're leaving that day with a powerful sales weapon that you can take to any industry. So your next step is simple. Go to the description below and click the link to secure your seat. That expertise has been sitting on the shelf way too long. It's time to get you funded.